What is popping, YouTube? You already know who it is. It is your boy Jesimein. Today we have my first 1.61 build. A lot of people have been asking me to make a Predator's Mark build, so here it is. This is my variant. No, it's not the 4-piece, but it can easily be switched to a 4-piece, as I'll show you guys in a moment. So without further ado, let's get in it. You guys can see my stats are pretty icy. 428 DPS, 329 toughness, 115 skill power, 9,000 firearms, 3,000 stamina, and 2,600 electronics. The weapon I am using is the Lavoa C with 24.9k base damage, 21% enemy armor damage, brutal, responsive, and unforgiving. And the reason I chose Z3 talents is because it is an ADS meta, as many of you guys know. People are no longer relying on hip fire as much. They are face tanking and hoping that they take the other person out in the burst of ammo that they have. So I use brutal, responsive, and unforgiving. Brutal because I want to try my best to get headshots to melt people, because since so many people are running high firearms, it's like who lands the shots and who lands the important shots. So if I can land headshots and get used to it, I can become a threat in the DZ or in Last Stand. Responsive, of course, speaks for itself, more damage, and unforgiving, possibly the most important talent in this meta, especially since most people are going to be face tanking. It is an exchange of whose gun melts who first. Stamina is important, but not as important, because even if you have like 380 stamina, you're still gonna get melted in the meta we're in right now, because people are just focusing, trying to land as much shots as possible. So unforgiving, responsive, and brutal are my setup for this. My secondary weapon is a Navy MP5 with deadly, responsive, and competent. I do use this one to hit fire when I need to finish, but that's irrelevant. Let's get into the build itself. As you guys can see, it is a Hexo hybrid gear set, I guess. So I have 3 Predators. I can easily switch my Brett's to a Predator's Mark vest, and then we'll be able to have the bleed effect, but that's just preference. I personally like running it this way because I like the extra toughness I get when I pop down. I'm utilizing the 3-piece, which is the assault rifle damage and SMG damage, and the reload speed, so I'm able to get both of those instead of the usual buff I would get with Skull MC gloves. So let's get into it. You guys can see Barrett's bulletproof firearms with health and enemy armor damage. My mask has crit chance, roll for firearms. My knee pads are rolled for firearms with health. Backpack, same thing, specialized with health. Savage, which is super important. I wouldn't run it any other way, only because, like I said, you want to be able to put out as much damage as possible, and you got to make sure you have specialized, especially when you're able to face tank with unforgiving. So running firearms with Savage gloves, and of course the typical assault rifle damage, crit damage, and crit chance. And if we go down to my holster, you'll see I have health rolled with pretty decent stats. Terrible on electronics, but it's okay. So like I said, you can switch back to the 4-piece if you want. If you prefer to go to your talents and unlock, you know, the newly fixed shrapnel, which bleeds everybody, if you really want to bleed everybody, you can easily switch, have the 4-piece. The DPS will practically stay the same. It's not going to really change. The only thing that changes is you lose the little buff that you would get if you pop 1 skill with Brett's, and of course the little tankiness afterwards. But if you see the stats, they will be the same solid. Roll everything towards firearms, and you'll see out here I have stamina, firearms, health, health on everything, firearms, health. And I was just testing something. I have a firearms with crit chance, so I can go up a little more health, but I just wanted to see how it would fit, adding a little bit more crit chance. That's all preference. A lot of people would rather have, you know, 8,500 firearms so they could take off and put more into electronics. You can actually flip this build around. This isn't the only way to run it. This is just the way I've had a lot of fun running. It kind of feels like a high-end build in a way. It hits really hard. I guess there'll be a big difference if I switch the chest piece, but this is just like my version of it. And since a lot of people are saying that this 3-piece is really, really strong, it is actually really, really strong. You don't have to rely on having, you know, Skull MCs, even though, you know, that is the optimal as far as damage, but it gets pretty close, man. You guys can see I'm hitting 24.9k, and that's really, really good on top of that. So, and I also get the crit chance of the Savage, so that adds up and makes up for the lack of damage that we have compared to the Skull MC glove. So going into the character sheet, you guys will see my crit chance is at 16%, crit damage is 67%, headshot damage is at 122. Like I said, this is important because I want to be able to face tank and take off their heads. If I'm shooting body shots, yeah, that's fine or not, but I'm trying to kind of tailor myself towards hitting headshots, even if I miss, just to get used to it. And before I forget, get into attachments. Like I said, this is headshot, so I have a VX1 scope with headshot damage, crit chance, and critical hit damage, extended magazine with magazine size, reload speed, and rate of fire, small grip with crit hit damage, optimal range and accuracy, and a suppressor with headshot damage, crit chance, and crit damage. So you can see based off of these two, that's raw damage on my headshot. So I don't have to hit a crit, and it adds 2 crits when I do hit crits. So if I'm able to discipline myself to hit these headshots, it really melts. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Going into my abilities, of course, nothing's changed here. I actually was running damage just to get the full damage output. You can easily switch this concealed and or recon, which I always recommend recon because you get it back way faster and it covers a bigger distance. Booster shot, of course, it's going to be amazing, especially when you pop it at low health, and be able to utilize that full unforgiving, and being able to tank just a little bit. A lot of people can switch off and say that they want to, you know, some people, I've been seeing a lot of people run cluster bombs with this, and with the shrapnel, with the ability of the Predator's Mark, and just bleed everything all the time. It is a very efficient combo that you can use if you do enjoy bleeding people. But let's get into my talents. The current talents I have right now are critical save, strike back, triage, and precision. The reason I put precision is I just want extra headshot damage, but like I said, it is subject to change. 1 is none is just as good, especially in those face tank situations. You want to be able to get lucky and get that extra bullets in those clips and just enough to finish somebody. So it can always switch off. This isn't the only optimal way. This is just the way I felt that works for me and my play style, but you can tweak it around anyway. Some people don't really care about the extra skill power, or some people don't care about the extra crit chance, and, you know, they can switch it off however, with a refresh mask or tenacious, switch off the breads, however you want to flip-flop it. Just make sure that you try to hit as much firearms as possible, because you won't be able to compete with the high-end people that are running full firearms if you don't. So there is an optimal way to run it. Like I said, if you enjoy bleeding, make sure you have all 4 pieces. Run shrapnel and use either use recon pulse with the seekers that bleed, or however, vice versa. Just do whatever you can to bleed everybody at all times, stop their movement speed, and get some damage across the board. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy it. I will have some gameplay of it probably tomorrow. I'm going to try to keep the builds separated from the gameplays themselves so people can know what they're actually looking for. This is just for the people who wanted a guide to build Predator's Mark. How I would personally do it. This is how I would do it. You can see it's pretty chunky. It's pretty good, man. The stats don't lie. It hits, and it has a pretty good effect when you're in the DZ or in Last Stand. So thank you guys for stopping by. If you guys have any questions, what would you guys do for Predator's Mark? Let me know in the comments. Leave me a like if you enjoy this build. Leave me a like if you think Predator's Mark is slept on. You know, I really think it's slept on. So without further ado, thank you guys for stopping by. I hope you guys enjoy it. I will have some other build videos coming out this week. I'm going to try my best to make them good. You know what I'm saying? Something that I haven't touched on. But without further ado, thank you guys for stopping by. Your boy is out.